Hey boys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are down at Silverstone in the F1 2020 cars as the lights all go red and out they go and away we go. We are off as we bog down a little bit there. And we are starting in last place as usual. See how far up the grid we can go. Now, after the success of my last video where we were on Assetto Corsa checking out the 1991 F1 cars, we were driving around Spa-Francorchamps in the Jordan 191, which is famously the first ever car that Michael Schumacher entered a Formula 1 race in around Spa. Unfortunately, I don't think he managed more than the first lap before he had to retire, so we tried to see if we could do a little bit better than that, and you guys seem to like that video. So today, we're back on Assetto Corsa with the F1 2020 mod. Now, the reason I'm using this mod rather than just playing the likes of something like F1 2020, which is a game I have put a lot of time into, as a lot of people say, that game is definitely more of an arcade game than a sim game. And the handling in this mod feels far superior to F1 2020. But not only that, the engine sounds, I mean, they'll shut up in a few minutes and you can just listen to how good these cars sound in this mod. Far more realistic than in F1 2020. In that game, you don't get any of that deep rumbling noise you get from the Honda engines in the Red Bull or the AlphaTauri. You know, the engines just all sound the same. This game really captures that engine noise beautifully. So I'm much preferring this mod over the likes of that game, and I think I've played that game too much as well. I think I just got tired of it. But this is a great mod again. I know you guys like finding out where I get these mods from. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. This was one of the ones I bought from Assetto Corsa mods, which, as I said in my last video, a lot of people have been telling me I shouldn't use that site because a lot of the content from there can actually be stolen. But I bought this before I was aware of that. Oh, somebody, as I think Kevin Magnussen then almost went for a complete spin out as he hit that curb way too hard there, but that was perfect for me. Took a couple of places there. Happy days. I've got the aggression set to only about 50% because obviously this is F1. You know, it's not quite as aggressive as the likes of GT or touring racing where it's a bit more door-to-door. These cars have a tendency to fall apart quite easily if they collide. So I'm a little bit more cautious. I've got the difficulty set at about, I think, 92% difficulty for this. They handle a lot better than they did in the last one. As I said in the last video, with those older cars, the AI was quite slow. For some reason, I really had to crank up the difficulty to get them to be a kind of competitive speed. But these are far better. So we are up into, I think, 8th place, which isn't too bad. That crash at the start there, or that little slowdown that Kevin Magnussen caused, has actually gained us quite a few places early into this race as we activate DRS. Now, because this is a mod, DRS is obviously available, but I'm not sure how to, or even if there is a way to kind of set the DRS to work within the F1 regulations. So, for anyone who doesn't know, in Formula 1, currently at least, DRS can only be activated after lap 3 and can only be available to cars that are within 1 second of the car ahead as they go through a DRS detection zone. But in this, for some reason, because that law isn't able to be implied, DRS is just available to everyone all the time, you know, when you enter a DRS zone, which is kind of cool, makes it quite fun. But obviously, if every car can turn on DRS at the same time, which the AI do, it kind of gets rid of the advantage it gives that driver who is trying to make an overtake. There you go, you can see, look, Sebastian Vettel opened his DRS, so did I, but I got through the exit of that corner a little bit quicker, giving me a bit more of an advantage down the straight. So today we're in the Red Bull, which for some of you guys, you may or may not know, this is my favourite F1 team. Big Red Bull racing fan, big Max fan, big Alex Albon fan, to be fair. But I'll be the first to say that Alex this season has had a really disappointing season. It's been heartbreaking to see him, you know, just underperform. I think the pressure of that Red Bull seat, we saw it get to Pierre Gasly, who's holding up Lewis Hamilton ahead of me here. We saw it get to Pierre, and now look how much Pierre is flourishing back at AlphaTauri. You know, I just think for both those two drivers, it was just too soon. I have no qualms that Alex would probably be doing, you know, as well as Pierre Gasly's been doing if he was at AlphaTauri. I think that seat might be his next year if Danny Kvyat gets shifted and they don't take Yuki Tsunoda, who's already been having seat fittings and all sorts, so it looks likely that, as I'm in the wrong gear there, Yuki Tsunoda could get that spare AlphaTauri seat, in which case, if Alex doesn't keep his seat, because as of making this video, Alex Albon's seat is undecided yet, it's still in contention. I'd love to see Alex get another season with Red Bull, because Red Bull have been too quick to, kick drivers, and I think just saying to him, look, you've got another season, that might be just the confidence boost he needs and the time he needs just to be able to get a bit more used to the car, because all the drivers have said that the AlphaTauri is such an easier car to drive than the Red Bull, but obviously it's just not as powerful and it's not as competitive. But we've seen Pierre Gasly literally win races in it, so it can't be that bad. It's a good looking car this season. Probably one of my favourite liveries after the Red Bull is the AlphaTauri. But saying that, Alex didn't do too bad in the last race. As I'm making this video, the last race was Istanbul, when it was very icy and slippy and wet, and Alex just seemed to come alive in those conditions. I mean, at one point he looked like he was on to win the race. But yeah, it didn't pan out quite the way they wanted for him and Max, but he still was up there with Max, Yes, they both span out a couple of times, but he definitely did better than I think they expected him to, so we'll see. They haven't announced yet what their plan is for next year. I personally, I'm happy to see Alex keep the seat if he can improve. If not, for me, I think it's just an obvious choice to go to Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg, yeah, he's never won an F1 race in his life or even been on the podium, but he's never really had a great ride or a great drive. We've seen him step in a couple of times for Racing Point this season, and last time I looked, he was like 15th in the championship in the drivers' listings. So for a driver who's entered only 2 races, and his last race, they literally rang him at 11 AM the day before, and he started from 20th and finished 8th. That's kind of like what we're doing here. It was an incredible drive from Hülkenberg in a half decent car. The Racing Point, the Mercedes 2.0 is a decent car this year. So I think Hülkenberg has the skill to be up there. And what Hülkenberg would be is he'd be a great kind of Bottas style character. Lewis Hamilton is their number one. Bottas is great, but he's not really going to be out there truly competing against Lewis, to take titles. Yeah, he does win races, but anytime that Lewis has an issue or a penalty or a DNF, they've got Valtteri right there, to kind of take up that mantle and get the points they need for the weekend. And I think Hülkenberg could be that driver for Red Bull for the likes of Max Verstappen. He's just a solid, dependable driver, and I think he would win podiums. He'd definitely win podiums if he got that Red Bull seat. So, he's the guy that I'd love to see. Obviously, Perez is still another option, and he took his first podium of the year last weekend. It was great to see. But for me, I'm just more of a Hülkenberg fan. I've just got a soft spot for Hülkenberg. I just like to see him do well. I just like to see drivers do well, and what a story it would be for a driver who's never had a podium. He got dropped by Renault. He had this year he's been out, and then to come back and get a Red Bull seat, arguably the second best team on the grid, and start winning podiums, it'd be amazing. So yeah, that's my take on it. Bit of a sidetrack there, as we are now up into 5th place. I'm kind of just following along behind these 2 guys for now. I'm not being too aggressive. I don't want to push too hard. This AlphaTauri is really holding up. I think it's Lewis ahead of us. 44, yes it is. Just about see his number on the side there. Now, the grid positioning or grid order of these cars is completely random. It's nothing to do with their ability. It was just a little nudge there. Oh, and again, I'm sorry, Lewis. The AI just, I know the first one I hit it, but then as soon as I nudged him, he just braked really hard. That was my fault there. That would be definitely a red flag and a black flag for me, in reality. But we are now up behind either Daniel Kvyat or Pierre Gasly. I can't quite see the number. One of the two. Up in 5th or 4th place now, I think. I'm going to try and make some moves on this in the next DRS zone, which is coming up any second now. We have the faster car. DRS activated. The race leaders seem to be gone. I can't even see anybody ahead of this AlphaTauri. we try and close the gap in these next set of chicanes. Don't want to hit the back of him, don't want to make a habit of knocking people off. That was a complete mistake back then. I think I just saw the cars ahead taking this corner now as I have to brake a little bit because I didn't have the racing line there. The modern F1 cars are so wide that I still don't have access to my side mirrors without warping my field of view too much that it's almost, you know, ridiculous. I still can't see my wing mirrors, so I've got the internal rear view mirror turned on, which I know is a complete unrealistic feature, but without it, it's just really hard to tell sometimes where you know, where your opponents are, especially when you're driving close. And with these F1 cars, you just get tangled in each other's axles, and it's just game over so easily. So having that mirror there just makes things a little bit easier. As we're up into 4th place, race leader is Kimi Räikkönen right now. That tells you how this is a complete random setup. We've got an Alfa Romeo leading the Silverstone Grand Prix. That'll be something to see in reality. So there's a few laps left. Can I now catch up with the group ahead of me? I can see a car now. The race is on. The race is on. Can we gain on this car? Getting stuck behind those that AlphaTauri before that little battle between Lewis Hamilton and I think Pierre Gasly really held me up a bit, but I think we have enough time as we start our 8th lap to catch up with that car ahead of us. It looks like a Ferrari. I just see flashes of red in the split seconds that I keep seeing it. We've just got to get our head down now. Yes, I think it is. We are gaining on him. We are gaining on him. Yep, that is most certainly a Ferrari. So this was really 2020. That car will be very, very slow. Now I've got the halo turned on here, which I know you can turn it off or make it a little bit more transparent on this game, but I've actually found you get used to it very, very quickly. And when I build my new PC, or when I finish it, I have been building it the last couple of weeks, but for any of you guys who are into PCs, you'll know it's been very difficult to get hold of the processor. I'm after the new AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. I have everything else, including my graphics card. I managed to get hold of a 3070 GTX GPU, and I'm building that specifically for sim racing and for using VR for sim racing as well. So I have been filming that build, and I will have a video for you in the near future when that is complete. So I will be racing cars like this. I can't wait to be racing, you know, this mod, but using virtual reality as well. I've been able to, we almost lose it there, look around inside the cockpit and, you know, look around the halo bar, be able to see past it. And that'll make some really exciting videos as well, racing all types of mods and cars with VR. I hope you guys stay tuned for that. But as I said, I do have a video coming of me building that gaming PC if any of you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. I know some of you guys are on console, so that won't really interest you, but we are right on top of, I think, Charles Leclerc now. Can we get, we're on lap 9, can we get, and we're in 3rd place. So this is the fight now for 2nd place. This is the fight for the silverware. Quite literally the silverware. Oh! I just feel awful. I mean, that's twice. I've almost decided to come to a stop there. That is twice. I have just knocked them. It's the same corner again. They seem to brake pretty heavily through that corner for some reason. Oh, disappointed in myself there, to be honest, guys. Shaking my head. But we're so close to the end. DRS activated, even though it would not be in reality because the race leader Kimi is practically laps ahead. Oh, I don't know what to say. I feel awful about taking 2 knocks in a race. I try to be as, you know, as careful as possible around each other, but it's just not realistic, is it, to knock other people off? But we strive on as we begin our last lap. Leader is on the last lap. Let's just try and set a best lap as we can now. Again, in this, there isn't really set up like real F1, you know, to get points for the fastest lap. But let's just try and go as quickly as we can. We are a little bit down right now on our fastest lap time by a quarter of a second, but back to the point of the incident. Yeah, the AI there just, I don't know. Twice in a row they just seemed to brake quite heavily as I was coming round the side of them on that particular corner. Half a lap left, and it looks like we would be disqualified in reality. But it looks like we're coming home with a silver trophy. As we enter the last DRS zone now, Kimi Räikkönen is just gone. He's already probably back home in Finland, knowing Kimi. He's packed up, left and gone home. After 20-something years of Formula 1 racing, I don't think he's too bothered these days anymore. Last chicanes, here we go. Heading for the finish line. Whew. And there we go, guys. Second place. Second place with two knocks at some point during that race. So yeah, it is what it is. All the same, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I thought it was quite fun. If you'd like to see more things like this, tell me down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.